May 12th, go check it out. Coming up next, we have some social media gurus on the show telling us the do's and don'ts for social media. I think we should all tune in for that right after this. La, la, la. Hey, hey. Yeah, yeah. Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, Google+, the list of social media sites goes on and on. How do you make social media work for you instead of against you? Well, here to help us answer that question and give us some great tips are Frederick March and Kim Levine. They are from Major Media Productions. There we go. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, first of all, let's start off with why social media has become so important. Why should people be getting on board with it?
You go ahead.
Yeah,
well,
go ahead, Kim.
I think if you haven't already been on it and you're either a company or an individual, if you're not already on it, you're missing out. Because this is the wave of this generation right now. It is all online. I mean, everyone is texting and tweeting and Facebooking, and they can't even go 30 seconds usually without checking it. It becomes a real problem sometimes. But, you know, I was thinking of Shakespeare earlier, if he would have been to tweet or not to tweet, you know?
That's right, exactly.
So, yeah, definitely it's important, but it's in the way that you do it that's also important.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I think everybody is pretty much on it, Frederick, but are they using it the right way? How should you be, like, let's give, for example, I think the two big ones are Facebook and Twitter. How should you be using those social media tools?
Well, the majority of the time, what you want to do with your media is to make sure that your audience that you're looking for is involved in that area, right? So with tweets, it's usually very, very short, obviously, and you know you're talking about getting a link out there and getting a little message saying, "Come check this out," and that usually that link would either bring you to your website or your Facebook, and that would bring you more information, more data to look at. So it's more like a very quick way, and people can look through real quickly and see what's happening with Twitter. The Facebook is definitely a lot better with as far as what you can use is for images and for videos and for all kinds of things. You can embed, if you're a musician, you can embed your music that you sell on there.
Right.
You can put your videos on there. You can sell products on there. You can now embed a website on your Facebook page. So there's all sorts of things you can do on Facebook itself that you don't necessarily do on Twitter. Twitter is more of a way to get your short message out there, to direct them towards something that you want to show them in a bigger format.
Mm-hmm. So then, I guess, does it work to use different types of social media hand in hand? Like, do certain websites go better together? Are they coupled together in a more efficient way?
Right, that's a really good question. I think if you're going to use social media at all, you should probably be on the major social media sites and portraying different information on each one. I mean, you talked about Pinterest, there's Google Plus is coming out, although I think Pinterest is totally surpassing Google Plus right now. It's very popular, along with Facebook and Twitter, of course. But I mean, the individual person's use is going to be completely different than a company or a branding in terms of business. But the important thing about social media is to obviously not put something up there that you don't want the world to see.
Yeah.
That is, I've gone on vacation for 2 weeks, come around my place. These are things that can happen. But the other thing is that it's important to be engaging if you're going to be a company, not just consistently spamming people, but actually building relationships.
Right.
Social media was intended to be social.
Right.
Right. So definitely those are things to consider when you're using them.
Yeah, I guess that's so true, because you don't want to annoy your audience, right? I think a lot of people take it maybe a little too far, and they're just bombarding you with so much information. When it comes to branding, like say you're a company or even an individual that wants to brand yourself, how often should you be using that Twitter tool, for example?
It's a really good question, because some companies or individuals that are famous will tweet once an hour or several times an hour, 24 hours a day, and then some companies won't. You won't see any information for maybe a week or two, sometimes even more, which is a tragedy, because people are on the page because they want more information.
Right.
So I think it depends on your brand, what you're looking to do with your brand, what kind of product you have. If you're an individual, what are you trying to, are you just using it for social and for family and things like that? There's many differences and different purposes you can use it for.
Right.
So I would say though, throughout business day and evening hours, for most companies, they're out there very frequently promoting their and engaging their audience. So
we already talked about not putting things up there that you wouldn't want the whole world to see. Do you have another don't very quickly before we run out of time?
Oh boy, there's so many. Don't, like the earlier message that you were saying, you know, say things that you wouldn't want the world to hear. You have to be careful about people maybe being an imposter, like you were portraying earlier. That happens quite often on social media. A lot of times you'll see verified profiles. That doesn't necessarily mean they are truly who they say they are. So you do have to be careful. That's a don't.
Yeah, I guess you have to do your homework too. I think a lot of people just want to get as many followers as possible, right? So they just follow other people and have them follow you. Maybe you need to educate yourself on who you're following instead of just blindly clicking on everybody all the time.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, you're right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We also know that you guys help people manage all the different types of social media out there. So we want to get people directed to your website at majormediaproductions.com, majormediaproductions.com. So you can go check them out, especially if you're, I don't know, checking out all these different social media sites, have a profile on all of them, and don't know what to do with all of these different profiles.
Like me.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Coming up, we're talking to Dr. Sasha Hamid about a great event that the Ontario chiropractors are putting together. That's right after this.